So what's up, Noor? What's going on, man?
It's good. How are you?
Good,
What's
man.
up?
Where you coming from now?
I just came back from the city, and yeah,
Okay.
just ready for this.
So we got Noor here from Rigor Group. He is in real estate investing, and he's actually 19 years old. Well, I met you on social media.
Yeah,
That's crazy, man.
yeah. I saw you on the For You page, and then I just hit you up. I was like, you
Yeah.
do this and this, and then
Yeah, so this stuff works.
that's how it started.
So tell me more about yourself, man. Tell me what you do at Rigor Group. I couldn't believe when I met you. You're telling me you were 19, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So what we do is, I'm 19, obviously. I'm still in school. And what we do specifically in the Rigor Group is we just find, typical fix and flips. We're trying to move on to bigger projects now, to bigger multifamily. But typically find good deals, mostly off market. Once we find a good deal, we either raise money for it or we use some of our personal funds and we fix it up and sell it. Simple stuff.
But you're 19, man.
Yeah.
What got you into? I can't believe it. What got you into real estate investing? I'm 31. I'm a real estate attorney. All I practice is real estate, and what I see you guys do, especially at that young age, is so fascinating. So how, at such a young age, were you able to? You get into this. What made you get into it? And where'd you find all the, just the education? What got you started?
Yeah, so I've always been interested in business my whole life. So I've opened multiple businesses since I was very, very young. I came to America when I was 11, and I've always had an interest in business. And I did a lot of stuff typical online, selling products online to stock market and stuff like that. And I always wanted to do something where it's there's something new every day, and I want to be active and moving around. That's always been my dream. And then I realized when you drive by everywhere, you see those buildings and somebody owns those buildings. That's, I feel where power comes from. That's the most powerful people in the world actually own a lot of real
assets,
estate.
Right?
Yeah, own assets in real estate. So I was I got to get into this. The first time I thought about getting into it was when I was 16. Then I realized maybe this is a little tougher than I thought. Then a year later, I don't know why it clicked with me where I was wait, this is not that bad. I can get into this. And got started at 17 specifically in real estate. And now it's been 2.5 years and everything's been going well.
So it's been 2.5 years since you started. So you're not.
Yeah.
So you started at 17. So you're telling me you own your first property at 17?
Yeah, we bought our first property at 17.
Wow. So that's under your current company,
Yes.
Rigor Group.
Rigor Group LLC. Yeah.
When was that formed?
That was in June of 2022.
Is that just you, or do you got?
It's me and I have my partner Michael. We started, and actually his mom had to sign. She had to be the LLC manager because we were too young. So that was a big help, and we started off. The first year was very slow. Nothing really happened. Just kind of experiencing,
Right.
losing, and finding everything that could go wrong, which we did. Till now, we're going through stuff that we didn't realize could even happen. But yeah, once we started, the first year was kind of slow, kind of more of a learning experience, going around, checking out the areas, learning more about the industry. Then when the second year came in, that's when work started coming in, and we were able to we built a system, and that's when we kind of felt yeah, we got it.
I'm gonna have to ask you more about the system, but
Yeah.
well, so tell me about your first deal. How'd you find the first deal, and how did that go? Was it profitable? Was it just more of a learning experience, or a little bit of both?
Yeah, so our first deal was actually not good at all. So how we got it is we were literally driving around the south side, all over Chicago, writing up on a notebook, putting down all the addresses of properties we can buy. And we didn't have a lot of funding where we could buy a big fix and flip. So I was trying to find kind of an off-market property that I can sell to an investor to fix and flip. So obviously it had to be at a good price. And what ended up happening was we found the property, and back then I didn't even know what.
Where was the property?
It was in West Palm, specifically on LaSalle Street.
So south side.
Yeah, south side.
South side Chicago.
It's always started in the south side. And what happened was, back then, like I said, it was my first time and nobody really told me to get into it. It was a personal choice. And what happened was I see a property, I negotiate this guy down to very cheap, around $10,000, because I could see he's about to lose it. But then I learned about all these violations, these liens, these back taxes, and the interest that get racks up, and the releases I need, the days of redemption. And I realized, oh my God, what is all this? I have to. You definitely.
Right.
You're a lawyer, you understand all of this stuff. But I was 17, wanted to get into new industry, and I didn't realize how bad it was. So we ended up getting that deal, paid off everything, and then I didn't even know what a squatter means. I kind of knew about it, but I didn't know the power they have with Chicago's current situation.
So you got this guy. So you found this property. Was it a wholesale? So somebody.
No, I found it myself.
So you off market.
Yeah, off market. We found
you
it
go directly to the seller. You negotiate $10,000 off.
Yeah,
And you find out there's all these issues.
all these issues that we end up paying for.
You still stick through it. You're
I stick
17
through it.
years old. Like, wow. Like,
Yeah.
if I saw that at that age, bro, I mean, I didn't know none of this stuff. And until,
sure.
even after law school, I mean, they don't teach you what an estimate of redemption is.
Yeah, I mean, you
what
have to
are
learn it
liens.
once you get to it.
Right,
for
you
sure.
have to do it in practice,
Yeah.
right? But I can only imagine at that young age, like, freaking out, like, oh my God, what I got myself into.
Yeah.
So how much was that? What was that purchase price?
All in at like 45,000.
45.
Yeah.
And it
the
had
deal-
all these liens on it. So what the probably sellers was that what he's walking away with? Or
No,
that,
he was walking away with like 10 to 12,000. I don't know if you remember the specific number, but it was literally like kind of the everything else other than, like it was 30,000 above what the seller was walking away with. And like I said, we bought it, and there was a
30K
squad.
above. So he's actually could probably take home what, 10, 15 from
Yeah,
what you
pretty
remember.
much. He's not taking a lot.
Right.
And then we see somebody in, and then that's my first time dealing with a squatter. And I was like, yo, like we have to, like, I started making up excuses, like I have contractors coming Thursday and you have to get out. Then we offered him cash for keys, wouldn't take it, wouldn't budge, and then we tried our best, and he kept delaying. It was very stressful. I was literally in high school. Like, I remember the worst day was I was at a football game. I get the call. I'm like, yo, you're gonna leave? He's like, yeah, I'm leaving. Then he's like, yeah. Then the old owner who has a relationship with him calls me. He's like, yeah, this guy's not leaving. And I was like, my heart just like
So
dropped.
what did you do? You went through the eviction, or did you have to? Just
We didn't go through an
somehow
eviction.
kick him out?
We sold it off to somebody who has more experience.
Okay.
And he took it over. I don't know. I mean, I checked on the property. Actually, it is. He did end up fixing it. So obviously the guy is
Oh,
out.
so you never ended up rehabbing that
No,
property.
we just took a loss on the property, kind of
So
based
how
on
much did you
time and
lose?
money. It wasn't much. Like I lost like let's say like a little under 10 grand. But I mean,
At that age, though, 10 grand, I mean, that would scare me. And what made you continue? Like now, so you learned probably so much, okay,
Yeah.
what to look for, right? You know, you're looking for the property, you find a deal, and then you find out there's a squatter,
Yeah.
which is, we all know is a miserable process here in Cook County. In Illinois,
the
is
worst
like,
process,
right?
yeah.
Just to deal with kicking him out, either you have to deal with cash for keys, and this guy's not leaving. And then you find out you had all these back taxes, but you still stick through it, and you're like, I want to continue doing this real estate. So you see something that has value.
I think
you can make
exactly.
money.
I think what helped me is also throughout that process, we were also locking up another property that I was planning on kind of wholesaling it, and it was going very, very well. We actually I used to list these properties on Facebook Marketplace. Like that's like, and I used to get actual buyers from there, and I got that property, and then it was all good. And out of nowhere, there was a $276,000 water bill racked up, and I have the screenshot proof that I can show you after this.
$276,000 on a property that's worth
$60,000.
So what happened? That's your
And I was ready.
deal.
I was ready to close. I was excited. I had the buyer. We had it locked up at I forgot the exact number. That seller was actually walking away with $6,000, and it was racked up everything was racked up to be $50,000. So it was around 56, and I found a seller at 70. So it was a decent deal. It was like a $20K plus deal.
Just a
for
wholesale.
profit.
You were
Yeah,
just
it was a wholesale deal.
Basically,
We're gonna double
assign it.
close, so we were gonna purchase it, but then sell it. You know how the double closing process is. And then I get the call from the title company, and she was like, "Yeah, we pulled out the water bill because it's different from pulling title. The water bill is different." And she was like, "It's $276,000."
So you never go through it.
I was like, "Oh my god!" And I kind of contacted a lot of attorneys to see if we can appeal it. And then I realized I was like, "I'm just wasting my time." And a lot of people from Chicago, they were like, "Yeah, I have connects with the building. Like, pay me money, then I'll bring it down to zero." And I tried to deal with them, knew that they're kind of all talk and they can't really do much. Which it is appealable. You can appeal those kinds of. I mean,
The
it's
water,
crazy.
yeah,
I mean,
the water
if you rack it up like $276,000,
That's insane.
That water bill is worth more than any house on the street.
Right.
And it's a water bill. It's not even the
I
price of the
wonder
house.
how they racked that up. It's probably from on
It
page.
said it's like a running water for 10 plus years, and there was
Jeez.
water damage and stuff. But I don't know how the process works for the water bill specifically. But I mean, it was. I can show you. I can send you the actual screenshot, and you could even put it somewhere, and it's $276,000.
Yeah, you're gonna have to send me that.
Yeah,
man. That's
and
nuts.
till this day, the guy's actually still fighting that. The owner is still fighting the water bill with his attorney.
Really?
Yeah.
So it never got solved.
I literally checked up with him after like a year and a half just to see. Like I was kind of wondering. I was like, "Yo, what's up? What's going on with that
Curious,
guy?"
yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, we're still fighting with it."
Oh my god,
Yeah.
man! Damn, man. So you obviously didn't flip that.
No,
you never touch it. You
Yeah,
never
that's kind
close.
of like.
So that's your second deal.
Yeah, but that's I think the best lesson I've ever learned. The best lesson I've ever learned from that deal was I will never get excited again for anything. I was really excited. I was like, okay, I'm about to make this 20 grand, and I was even setting up stuff that I wanted to pay for that I knew the money was coming in. So I was like, okay, let's do that.
Counting your checks before you
exactly.
had
I was
it.
counting my checks before they hit the bank, and that's a big mistake.
Everyone does that in real estate,
Yeah.
right? Realtors, agents, even lawyers.
Yeah.
But you never know when.
Exactly.
You can't expect to have that money until you get that check in your hands, bro. Because
Exactly.
there's so many contingencies in a closing. Man.
Yeah,
you
for
know
sure,
what I mean.
100%.
You find a deal for $60K, but what was that really worth? What was that property worth? That's the second one you were talking about.
After renovation, After renovation, or as
Let's
is?
say you 60K after renovation. What's
That
your
property
ARV?
was worth 8,000. You put 80,000. You put, it was actually a multifamily. It's 2-unit frame. It's 2-unit frame. 80, you buy it at 80,000 as is. You put 100K into it. You can come out with like 250. So
that your sale price would have been
Yeah.
250. You're saying it would have costed you 80 all in.
100K all in. I wouldn't have done
That's
it, but I'm saying
rehab.
that's what the investor would have done to rehab it.
Yeah.
But that's the best lesson I've learned, and I'm glad it happened, because I used to get so excited when deals come up and like, yo, I'm gonna close on this. Now there's been way better deals that we closed on and everything, and I haven't felt a single
And that's the way,
excitement.
because if you're going to scale something, you can't be too emotionally invested
100%,
into a deal.
100%.
Man.
And that's what
I
I
know
was.
the first couple deals, and then you're young and you're excited. I mean, even for me, like if I was going to buy a property, I know I'm going to be a little bit more emotionally invested,
Yeah.
but you can't treat it that way.
100%.
You got to look at it. I mean, you do this. So you got to look at it as Excel sheet. You're just your net, right? What's your net profit? You got to make sure you close. You can't get excited. So since you started, how many deals have you closed on?
We've done total over 40 deals based on, I mean, if it's like a wholesale deal where we buy and sell quick, and for flips we're at like total like 12.
So majority of your business is it wholesale or flips?
I
or
mean,
a little bit of both.
it would be kind of what kind of runs the day to day is finding those quick deals and selling them off. But I mean, now I'm focused on acquiring more, since I have the proper system to do it. Actual like multifamily deals, and we fix them up and sell them, and have a system where our crews will hop around and they know exactly how to finish on time.
So at this point, I mean, you're probably at a stage now, from what I understand, is like you're at a stage now where you're just trying to build your capital, and you do that through these flips or wholesales. It's crazy because some of these wholesalers, I mean, your age, you caught up on a time. Because when I graduated law school, I wasn't even looking at TikTok. You know how many people on Instagram and TikTok are just advertising wholesale, quick money? I mean, you know the guys we follow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, how are you making this quick? Oh, you learn wholesale, and you're going to learn a quick 50K. And obviously, in business, it's rare.
That's like, I mean, the thing is, that's one thing I hate. I mean, I have good relationships with a lot of these influencers, like real estate influencers, and I know a lot of them, and they're good people. But the one thing is, they never show the whole process. They don't want you to. Like the stuff I went through, I don't think you'll watch a YouTube video you can find a YouTube video, whether it's in real estate, fix and flip, or wholesale, that teaches you about the closing process and the title process and what goes through.
But you're also finding these, which is crazy. Like you're looking, obviously the entry point in the south side is cheap. It's probably what attracted you.
Exactly.
Right?
I mean, yeah, it's something you can afford.
You saw some value at the back end, which is I think is pretty new. I mean, nobody I know likes to invest in the south side.
And that's why I actually like hearing that. I like hearing it because there's less competition for me, and I realize even now we have more capital. We can invest in better areas, which we have done some in the south suburbs and some in different areas. And I actually like the south side the most.
You were saying you also had Lincoln Park. You have something
we
going
have
on now.
Lincoln
So
Park.
it's not just the south side, but primarily it's...
Yeah, exactly. And we have like south suburbs like Country Club Hills, Hazel Crest, like those areas. And like I said, I mean, But
would you recommend holding? Would you recommend holding, renting in the south side?
I actually do recommend it, and people will always disagree with me. But like I said, if you have a proper system and you do proper tenant screening, you should have zero problems with
these are not Section 8.
I mean, even if it's Section 8, like I was helping a friend actually rent out his property, and we had a whole day of showings for Section 8, and it all seems to be like single moms or moms with kids that there are no threat to the property, and obviously, I mean, it's government assistance, so you're getting guaranteed checks from the government. And as long as you do proper tenant screening and you know who you're dealing with and you run a good background check on your tenant, you should not have a problem. And obviously, the south side's a way higher cap rate, and I actually think there is appreciation of the south side in some areas.
I mean. Probably the appreciation is doing the work, because all these homes are run down.
Exactly,
right? It's not like the north side. You probably generally, I'm talking generally, the north side. You tell me if you agree with this. Like north side properties generally have a better building, better structure, better probably taken care of generally
100%.
Compared to the south side where you're getting a property, say what, 80K. I mean, you closed on a property recently in Inglewood.
Yeah.
What, 160? I remember.
It was 145.
But that was a solid building. I remember you're doing. We have to go take a look at it.
It's like you just need interior work. It's a solid building. But those are the deals I look with. I look for. That's an example.
But going back to the appreciation point. I mean, you're saying 160K, but what sometimes. But you're saying on the back end you could probably sell it for 340, 370, which I couldn't believe that these areas even could sell for that much. But the equity or the appreciation is just putting the work into it, because people just need somewhere to live, man. There's nowhere to live. I mean, look, everything, inventory is so crazy, right? So the south side is just good entry point. People are buying in with FHA 3-5%. Anybody can afford it as long as they have a good job.
Exactly, they have a good money coming in, and those are the deals that I look for actually. So perfect example. This is a personal property that we purchased. So it's a 4-bed, 2-bath in West Pullman. It is a good frame, good interior. Definitely needs work. It's dated, very dated, but it's livable. And there was already a tenant in there. That house is a 4-bedroom in that area, rents for like $2,400 for Section 8. So what I do is, okay, I rent it out.
The house or the unit? You're saying one of the unit?
No, this is a single family. This is a single family. So for this specific property, the second I bought it, I'm getting offers for $130, and I'm all in. I bought it at $80, so I'm getting offers for $50K profit. I mean, after closing costs, I'll say I'll make $40,000, but I'm holding on to it, renting it out, and it doesn't need that much work. And once, let's say I want to sell it, I'll put $25K into it, which I'd be all in at let's say $105,000. That house will sell easily for $180, $200.
Jeez,
easily.
So it's just probably easier to find the deals.
Yeah, so I know I have a plan. For like those types of houses, I have a plan B, plan A, plan B, plan C. Like if she runs away, she does something. Okay, yeah, I fix up the house and I don't want to rent it anymore. I fix it up and sell it for profit, even though I've been getting really good cash flow. So awesome. I mean, the south side, it's more for high cap cash flow area. You know what I mean? It's a cash flow.
And you're also getting yourself dirty. You're hitting these properties up all the time. You're taking a look. I mean, it's. I mean,
when you're into it, it's way easier. Obviously, you understand the process.
Right.
If you're a lawyer, if you're a doctor, if you're an engineer, and you're kind of working 50 hours in your own profession, it's going to be tough.
So tell me, how are you at 19, dude? How are you paying for these proproperties? Let's just start there.
So it's either...
Are you getting hold money? Are you getting loans? Are your family giving you money?
It's still... So I don't like working with banks. I would rather do private money. So I've built relationships with investors that you've seen me getting calls with them and stuff. And so it's either private money with investors, and we take a percentage of profits. Typical private equity deal. It's pretty much a small scale private equity deal.
They put up, let's say they put up all the money, and then
I
bring it up all, or you putting some of it?
I mean, sometimes I do JVs, and we're probably going to do a JV together soon. But it's either there's 3 steps: either my own money personally, everything into the whole project, or a JV deal where I go 50-50, which I'm not doing as much anymore because I realize that
you're giving up too much capital.
I'm giving up too much capital. I can make the same raising 100% of the funds, and once I raise it, I mean, it's a small scale private equity deal where I'm managing. I'm the GP for the whole
When you say GP, you mean
I'm a general partner. Yeah, okay. I'm a general partner, and what I do is I fix up everything. I handle everything from A to Z, whether it's closing, I handle dealing with the city, permits, so I handle the acquisition, the dispo.
You're doing everything A to Z,
construction.
All they do is have to just provide
all they do is put up the money, and they're making quick profits. And let's say a 3-month turnaround time, when they just put, let's say 30, they're making pretty much 20 to 25% profits on each deal.
Yeah, but in the beginning, you probably were, because you were still young and probably in the process, you had to give up 50% of your profit to the investor because you're starting off and you want the experience under your belt.
It took me 2 years to build those investor relations. Right. It wasn't easy. Like the thing is, like once you start doing good and people can kind of see it, like if I'm posting on my stories and people see I'm always working and I'm always doing something new, like if you mess up in the beginning, you wouldn't be posting this type of stuff. So people start talking about you, and actually people hit me up through my small account on social media, my private account. Like I'm doing all these deals, people talk around, and these people come to me like, oh, I have money. Like let's say they're new generation doctors, new lawyers, new whatever. They have money. Like let's do some deals.
Because I mean, look at it as a lawyer, we're so sucked in. And what sucks is in the service side. I'm actually closing the deals. I mean, it's a lot easier for me than a doctor who's probably working 80 hours,
100%.
70 hours. They
know the system for it. You know what goes
right. But they want some way to make more money. To put their money, man, and it's like in the market. Okay, what are they going to get in the bank? So we know in the bank they're getting saving 4%. They'd rather if they get that 4% interest rate in their bank accounts in a savings account. Otherwise, maybe they'll put an S&P index fund. They may get 9 to 10% a year.
I mean, even with inflation, that 4% doesn't mean anything. You're still losing 3% on your money.
Right, you're losing.
And even S&P. I mean, I still think the stock market is good if you're going into like low risk ETFs. Long run, you'll never regret it. I mean, truly, based on historical facts.
100K, if you're given 20%, that's 20K. That's 20% return. And what do these flips take generally?
I mean, literally 2 to 3 months. I mean, obviously we have some problems sometimes, and it would be a longer process, but it should be 3 months.
Average is 3 months,
maybe even less, like 2.5 months.
So you got your team. I assume.
You'll see with the Englewood right now, it'll be done in 2 weeks, listed. I mean, unless we have a closing problem with a future buyer. I mean, we should find a buyer within 2 weeks after that, so that's a month, and. I mean, closing 2 weeks after that, unless they want to get financing. That's everything
going so smooth, right? Like you said, you have deals where
of course. I mean, I had a deal it's been over a year now. Right. The Country Club Hills one, but that's also a contractor issue, which I won't have again.
And you have all your money tied up in it.
That's the thing. That's a cash deal too. Yeah, you have money tied up.
Your money's all sitting in this property. See, that's what gets people kind of. I mean, that's part of being an entrepreneur, man. I mean, you take your risks. Some are quick ones, quick wins, and you got a deal like this in Country Club Hills where you were saying the city was just giving you a hard time, and you got all your money sitting there and you can't do nothing. That's, you know, it's crazy to think about.
100%.
Now these properties, you're finding who's doing all the work that's flipping. You're not doing this with your hand, obviously. You have your GC going out there.
So we have a general contractor. He's actually a personal friend that I ended up. That's my main crew. I have two crews. One is somebody who I got referred to, and he does very good work. But my main crew is, you've met him, and everything is. I trust him. He's my friend even more than as a business partner.
Good.
He's
doing the work.
He does all the
labor. He's buying the material, and you just kind of come up with some kind of estimate.
Ever since we started working together, he grew his team. Now he has a crew of like 8 people, and now we can handle, with him specifically, 3-4 projects at a time. Now with my other crew, we can handle another 3-4 projects. So that's a system you need to build to be able to. And that guy will go to me before going to anybody else, because I mean now we've been working together for nonstop for let's say like 6 to 8 months now.
So this guy I'm curious with these GCs. So when you hire him to do fix one of your flips, is he paid portion up front, or is it mostly on the back end, or do you give a percent of the process, or does it depend on the deal?
I mean, each fix and flipper has a different system. My system would be, I mean, per the deal, I will pay typically 3 installments. So the down payment in the beginning, then in the middle, then at the end you pay your last payment. So I think that's the best way to do it, because it gives them enough where they
incentive, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Come back and finish the job.
Exactly. Like you have to finish the job to get the rest of your money.
Right.
Because one of the mistakes I made in the beginning was I actually we paid everything before, because the guy just kind of like, it was the worst contractor experience.
Yeah, I mean, you have the horror stories where the guy pays the contractor all up front. Now you're running around. Oh my God, I gave him 10, 20 K.
And he ran out of money, and I had to give him an extra $7,000. And now he finished that finish, and he was like, I'm not gonna finish it. And that's another mistake we made. We gave him the money, and now he's gone. And now we just changed the lockbox code. We sent another crew to finish it up.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the process, but you learn through doing 100%. It. Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's good that we're learning all those things early on. It's better than when we're taking on bigger deals, like 100-unit deals or whatever. I'd rather learn it in those smaller single-family deals.
Yeah, man. So now you told me all about this cool stuff. So tell me what's the craziest deal you worked on? I mean, since we've been doing this for 2 years, but what's like the horror story deal where, like, if you told somebody, they would be like, "F this, I'm staying away from
Country Club Hills."
The Country Club Hills. So tell us more about
city
this deal.
problems. So obviously, I mean, with pulling permits, I don't know. Hopefully, the inspectors don't see this video, but so we started working without pulling permits.
Single family home you bought.
Single family home, frame, 4-bed, 2-bath. And we go in, we start working, we did demo, we did a couple things, tore down the wall, which that was also a mistake, but it did make the property look better. And then one day I hear an inspector comes in, sticker on the door, stop work order. I'm like, oh my God, we got to do this. And then now we can't work. Literally, it's illegal for us to work on the property until we pull permits. The GC that I had on that property has 0 licenses, not even a general contractor license, which you can get in a week just to send out a file. And they made us replace all galvanized plumbing, which I had to pay an extra $10K for. Replace electric, some parts of the electric. That's $4,000 to a new crew. Then I actually I paid a guy $650 to come all the way from Michigan.
You told me,
to pull the license for that dude, because nobody would trust anybody to work on their license. That guy's gonna retire, so he doesn't really care.
So we're way over budget now.
I mean, I'm over budget, but thank God it's still a good deal where you'll make some money, but it's definitely not worth the whole year.
Is that a south suburb thing? Is that a suburb thing?
I mean, you know more than anybody.
I don't know. I know the south suburbs are miserable, but I haven't done a deal there, so I can't tell.
Specifically Country Club Hills. I mean, hopefully I don't see this, because I don't want. There's one more inspection coming up, so.
We'll wait until we publish.
It's after, yeah. But like I said, I mean, everything went wrong, and the inspector literally.
And it's a simple flip, right? It should have took how long?
It should have taken less than a month.
And now
3 weeks.
It's a year.
It's a year.
Jeez.
I mean, even if we were done, I wanted to hold it for a year for capital gains reasons, where you go
but
down.
Still, I mean, you would have had either rent it out, right?
Exactly,
now there's nobody losing holding costs.
Once I got to the 8-month period, I was like, I don't care anymore. I have to wait over the year just so, I mean, it saves us a decent amount of money on capital gains.
And you're holding this cash, and the benefit of, I guess, one good benefit is holding. At least you're not paying these holding costs, but your money could be put to
they
work.
They are paying holding costs. They doubled the tax.
The taxes for sure. So I'm saying you're not paying the interest carrying costs like that.
No, it's all cash. That's exactly.
That's a good thing, but. Like I said, you deal with the south suburb taxes, and that's a whole other story. Yeah. And then you got your money tied up in one project that you could be using it towards other projects to make more money. Yeah. I mean, it's just, somebody would hear that would freak the F out, man. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, it's the worst, like this guy, like it's the worst experience I've had, where I've never been more pissed at somebody in my life. And he's just like, I mean, he's playing with my money, you know what I mean? And I helped him out so much.
It's just too
Gave him an
emotional, right?
opportunity, and
Isn't
he's
it
not-
too personal though in the
Now
south suburbs with these contractors?
Now it gets personal. Now it got personal where I'm like you,
Yeah.
like this is.
But I'm
just,
saying
this-
comparing that to the city where you work
the
in
city's
the
just
south
easier
side.
to deal with, like, you know what I mean? Like they're not the inspectors kind of focus on one specific area for a period of time where you can work on other areas and just finish them off.
It's just
quick.
a bigger city, bigger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they don't care as much. I mean, the city, they definitely don't care as much as those like even Country Club Bills is very known for being strict. Like they have no soliciting signs everywhere. They have no, like, you can't even knock on doors. Like
Usually sometimes they have one building inspector looking at.
and it is
taking
one
care of
building
the
inspector,
whole
and
city.
specifically for me, I knew he had something against me because I would literally every time I would go check out on the property, he would be in the corner watching over.
Jeez.
So his whole job for 6 months was trying to like F me over pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, that's unfortunately it's part of the process.
Yeah,
Though, and you live
100%.
and learn, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, with all that said, I mean, what's some advice you can give to young entrepreneur who wants to get into real estate investing?
Yeah.
They hear all these crazy stories on TikTok. These guys
Yeah.
made a quick
That's
$100K in a
advice.
month,
Yeah.
or would you give advice to even a guy like me
Yeah.
who would like to invest or maybe get his feet wet into more of the real estate investing side, whether that be a flip or holding or
Yeah,
or
my
whatnot?
best advice would be never listen to those TikTokers, never believe everything, or these Instagram influencers or these real estate gurus or whatever. I mean, some of the stuff they teach is true, but they don't tell you the dark side. They always make, I mean, they're selling a course. Why would they tell you what could go wrong? They want to tell you what's going good. And for advice is for real estate is so kind of you have to learn the system. Either you shadow somebody, which I didn't really shadow, but that kind of teaches you. I never shadowed anybody except once, which is like 6 months ago,
Right.
which I already kind of knew the process. But
What do you mean shadow? You mean shadow another investor flipper?
I shadowed a developer because I want to get into the development side, which we'll probably talk about. And I just kind of asked him a couple questions. That's kind of it. But my advice would be kind of to learn and do stuff on your own and just build a good name. Where you build a good name, people will come to you, and always people will help you out. There's always like people, even with you. Like if I ask you a question, you're always the older
just
people.
looking within your circle, your network.
Yeah, there's always good people in the world, so people will help you out. But my advice for the young people is to just keep working. Obviously, just stuff you hear all the time, but it's where you want to show that you've done something. I mean, once you see that you've done something, people see a young hustler working like crazy.
What if they have no money? I mean, they're getting into this at your age, 20, 21, or anybody who doesn't have any funds.
You have to learn everything. You have to learn the business from A to Z. You have to be a master, an expert at this business. Then you're gonna have to convince people to raise money from. Once people can see that you know a lot, which I mean, if I've talked to you, I mean, for a 19-year-old, I probably showed you that I know a decent amount.
I've met I'm super impressed, man. I
Yeah.
haven't met one person this young. I know guys older than me, and they're in the industry, whether they're an agent or an attorney or lender that know zero about like, dude, 90% of the stuff you said. So it's honestly amazing. You got a amazing career ahead of you, man.
Appreciate it. But like I said, once you show people that you know a lot about the business, people are willing. There's a lot of rich people that are willing to put money up just to invest in you.
People like
the same way in every startup, whether it's tech startup, whether it's like anything that will happen. My advice for the older professionals like you would be to kind of realize, so you lawyers, doctors, engineers, they make a good income. They're always in the top 5% of Americans based on income. And since you're already making good income, I definitely think it's a long-term thing. It's okay to get into fix and flips, which I know we'll probably get into fix and flips with you. But I think is you're already making a really good income. Put some money on the side and buy, keep buying,
and just keep
build a
collecting.
system where you buy every year, and then by the time you're older and you have the family and everything, you have so much assets to give to either to live off of, where you can retire, or to enjoy, and like you can kind of like the cash flow coming in from those assets you can enjoy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I'll assume the
And
whole
obviously
idea is to
leverage.
pay it off and pay down their equity and take the
and
tax
buy more.
advantage.
Tax advantages,
and
sell, 1031 exchange, buy more, and build it. That's how every. I'm pretty sure that's how like 90% of millionaires were made is literally through real estate in America.
Holding these wealth.
Yeah.
Right? It's the easiest wealth tool. They're saying just buy this stuff, and you could do it as a W-2 employee, right? You can just
100%.
buy every year. You can buy something, whether that be a single family home or 4 years.
I mean, obviously now it's getting tougher with people. I mean,
the competition is so crazy.
Not
but
only the competition, but the living. I mean, most people are living paycheck to paycheck, so they can't put money on the side to be able to buy a property. But my advice would be for people like you, the professionals who obviously make a higher income than typical average American. So I mean, it is a tough situation for others. I mean, even at the debate yesterday, they're talking about people being able to afford one house, let alone just buying a multiple investment properties.
It's not easy,
It's not easy for sure.
It's not easy.
So
but there has its benefits.
Of course. I mean, if you know how to save, I mean, I know people who make millions of dollars a year that save less than people who make $100,000 a year. Like, it's about your spending. It's not about your income.
Some people make $1 million, they spend it all or in debt.
Exactly.
So where do you see this? I mean, where do you see Chicago land market? I mean, just you're only in there for 2 years, but like, where do you see the trend going? Do you see they're going to be I mean, we always hear this, right? Is there going to be a crash or not, man? I mean, like your hands are in there. You're getting your feet wet. You're actually doing the work, and you're selling. You got a couple. Well, you said like 20 deals under your belt now. You closed on. Yeah. Where do you see this? Where do you see the market going in Chicago? Well, I'll tell you my opinion.
What I like about Chicago is that I believe it is a more recession-friendly market. Just because, I mean, if you look at a lot of these areas around the United States, Houston, Dallas, places in Florida where they're booming, Arizona, whatever. A big boom like that always is scary because it's a bubble. It'll pop at some point. Chicago's always been just it fluctuates. It's steady and it fluctuates, and that's a good market to get into where it will never dip down like crazy, but it'll also never like boost up where like, oh, out of nowhere, like, oh, you just made some like a crazy investment where let's say in Dallas you bought something 4 years ago for $300,000. Now people you list it for $700,000 and people are getting above asking. So it wouldn't be like that in Chicago, but I prefer Chicago actually just because of how steady it is, and you know kind of the market, you know what to get into, you know the price of what you're getting. Like me right now, with my specific properties that we focus on that we buy, I know exactly how much it's worth. And I know how much it would sell for. I don't have to worry about like the
coming fluctuations that are crazy, volatile.
It's not volatile. It's not volatile. And that's what I like. I mean, it fluctuates a little bit, but it's pretty steady. It just goes like kind of.
So I've been looking at it from a perspective like, okay, I got cousins who live in the coast in Florida and California. In California, you can't find a house less for $2 million. So who's going to buy that? Normal people, right? Or you go to Florida where you have the busting balloon, like anything that goes up so high is going to bust.
Exactly.
Then you're dealing with hurricanes and you're dealing with God knows what. So Chicago to me, in the Midwest generally.
And it's climate friendly.
Indiana, climate friendly. Yeah. So you're not going to, we're probably the safest part of the country in terms of climate change. And then the prices, the entry point are, like you said, they're affordable still. Yeah. Like, we may say it's a lot, but compared to
other states,
Cali,
100%.
Florida.
Dude, California is not even, I mean, everybody's moving to Wyoming.
People can put an FHA 5% down, still get into a house and own property where that's almost dude, there's parts of the country, New York, Cali, where that's like unachievable. There's no way you can work your whole life and never buy a house. Yeah. Because the prices are crazy.
I mean, that's what people are saying is that in the next 20 years, America will be a renter's market where almost nobody will own homes, and it will all be owned by these hedge funds. That's a whole other story
with all the big
firms and big corporations, the BlackRock, Blackstone, everything.
Yeah, man. So what's next for you, man? So what do you see in the horizon? I know you were mentioning that you have you work with private investors now. Yeah. What's the next step? I know we talked before about you may get into more institutional investors.
Exactly.
Try to raise some of that money.
Yeah. So
and then you said development. So tell us more about that.
So I definitely want to get into development, not in Chicago, specifically in the let's say closest to us would be in the Wisconsin area, like the Kenosha County, Bristol area. But my biggest thing that I want to get into is definitely the fund managing a life, which is like I'm trying to get into the private equity where I want to raise from educational institutions like from school, like university endowments, and do different types of funds where either private equity or a typical, I mean, hold like kind of like Grant Cardone structure, a 220 fund, like whatever it is. But I just need that's what we need to do is funds. I think that's what's the most important thing. That's where you gain power, influence, the connections, and everything. That's what.
Dude, how did you learn about this stuff, dude? You're 19. Like to me, it's insane. How do you even know about these funds and what going into endowment funds and like? That's.
I mean, you just talk to a lot of people. I have friends that were very smart that would tell me, and I've talked to older people. It could be my dad's friends that would be like, do this and do that. And I know that. I mean, these endowments, those crazy endowments, like Northwestern, it's like $15 billion. And
will they give it to some like? I mean, this is probably for massive development, though. I'm assuming, right?
I mean, the thing is, I think if you show, as long as we have a proof of concept, which we do now, and we're still I'm still working on getting even a bigger proof of concept and a better one. And once you show them, we're making money, and I have a specific fund structure that we're doing that I wouldn't want to talk because I feel like nobody's done it. Yeah, nobody's done it yet. I'll talk to you later about it. And I think that one was very it's recession proof, and it would be a secure investment for those institutions.
For those institutions.
Yeah, and I think
that's what they're
nobody
looking
has
for,
done
right?
it. Nobody has done it yet, and I think it would be perfect. So
don't
that's what
they
we're
need a
planning on.
track fund too, right? Those institutions.
I mean, they
usually-
wanna
need
put-
to see that you've done something. And
100%. You have to show them that you can't just be a 19-year-old kid. Like, I guarantee.
Well, I mean, I
there's
talked to guys who open their own hedge funds and stuff, and they're saying they want to see a couple years of under your belt before they.
100%.
They got a bunch of stuff locked up. They were saying, like, I had a guy who I know opened a hedge fund, and he was trying to go to UFC's endowment funds, and he was saying that they got a lot of their money. A lot of their money is parked in these old ass commercial buildings that they can't get rid of or something. So I don't know. I mean, that's all.
It's going to be tough, but that's part of it.
It's all cool to me on the fund. I wish I took financing in undergrad instead of studying what I did and studied English.
Yeah.
Because look how important finance is. You need money to make money.
Finance runs the world. I think that's the most important. Obviously, based on degrees and like the income it's not the highest based on like an undergraduate degree.
But you learn so much.
But what you learn, if you actually take it to the next level and start doing your own things, it's the most helpful. That and accounting, but I feel like accounting
And you're in school again. We forgot to
I'm
say
in school.
that.
I mean, you're
in undergrad.
Yeah.
You go to
DePaul University.
What are you studying?
Finance, and I'm getting into. I'm doing a minor.
Get some accounting experience because that's something I'll tell you I didn't take.
100%.
And numbers rule the world, and whatever you do, especially if you're doing this, dude, you're gonna need to know what a balance sheet looks like.
Yeah,
What's I'm doing an expense statement.
I'm doing finance and a minor in political science, which you probably like. What that's kind of
poli sci is cool. That's probably interesting, but it'll never be useful.
And that's not all useful. It's just I definitely want to get into politics in the future, and I mean it might just have something on your reg where it shows interest at a young age. He did that, and he was interested.
Anyways, man, thanks for your time, bro. Thanks for coming out.
This
is great chatting with you, man, and we're gonna have to do a deal together.
Thank you for having me soon, for sure.
For sure.